Knighthood and the Chivalric Code during the time of St. Francis, understanding the historical and cultural impact of those influences on Franciscanism. The time of St. Francis was during the High Middle or Dark Ages, as it's commonly called, roughly from 1000 CE to 1300 CE of medieval times. This was amidst the Crusades. On the timeline here, we can see St. Francis is dang near lived during smack in the middle of the High Middle Ages. St. Francis, also known as the patron saint of ecology and animals, according to Friars in his article, Seven Fascinating Facts About St. Francis, he kind of goes on to explain that his Francis's beginning was different than the way we recognize him. He was the son of a wealthy Italian cloth merchant. His mother came from nobility. He was born in 1182 CE, died in 1226 CE. When he was born, his father was away on a business trip to France. So when he was born, his mother named him John or Giovanni di Bernardone, if I said that correctly. Um, but upon his father's return from his business trip to France, which he absolutely adored, he called it Gentle France, he changed his name to Francesco or Francis. As Francis grew in age in his youth, he was a bit of a party animal, quite a bit of frivolity. His friends nicknamed him Dominus, or the King of Partying. As he matured a little bit more, he wanted to become a knight. He was enthralled by the Arthurian ideals and life. He actually fought in two wars, at which time he became a prisoner of war for roughly about a year. During that time in his incarceration, he got to caring for his fellow inmates, and that was kind of the beginning of his change of ideals about becoming a knight and war. Encyclopedia.com kind of breaks down knighthood and the chivalric code. Knighthood is the social elite. At that time, it was a feudal system where you worked for the king, you got some land, you got to survive, you had your role to contribute to society. Knights were known for their nobility, courage, and skilled horsemen, that is. The word chivalry actually is a variation of a French word, which basically means skilled with a horse. The knights maintained social order and ultimately came to be carrying out God's work. The chivalric code, excuse me, the chivalric code emphasizes bravery, honor, and courtesy. They defended the weak, the poor, women, especially women and widows, orphans, and the oppressed. Um, Over time, chivalry became really entwined with Christian values, to the point where, as Francis matured in his life and pursued his desire to help others, he created his own chivalric order called the Friars Minor, or what was known as Franciscanism, um, as declared by Davis in his article, The Francis Option. Grant Uden, in a publication, he wrote a dictionary of chivalry, quoted the Knight's Prayer, which is carved on a stone in a cathedral in France. And the quote reads, Most Holy Lord, Almighty Father, thou who hast permitted on earth the use of the sword to repress the malice of the wicked and defend justice, cause thy servant here before thee, by disposing his heart to goodness, never to use his sword or another to injure anyone unjustly, but let him use it always to defend the just and right. This kind of provides an understanding to the foundation of the ideals that Saint Francis developed and led to Franciscanism. The influence and the conclusion. The historical cultural influence during the time of Saint Francis allows us to understand the impact on his life, to which molded his ideals, and the meaningfulness of Franciscanism. While knighthood and chivalric code were dominant forces in St. Francis's time, his life story represented a contrasting ideal based on peace and service. Their combined influence still shape Western history and culture to this day through personification of Franciscan values.